Hi everyone, welcome to today's informative class. I'll call it rather than a webinar. And we have with me here Paul Adeye, and he's going to be speaking on budgeting and building wealth as immigrants. And everybody wants to make money, right? Obviously, one of the basic reasons why we left our home country to come here is for a better life. So this morning he will be taking us through what it entails to build wealth and budget. Very, very essential. Very, very essential. And if I could give a background, way that I met him, he's a financial advisor, and he was the one that put all my money into perspective, right? As a naughty spender that I am. So welcome on board, sir. Good morning once again. And I will read this profile now and we dive into the questions and see the practical tips and ways we could budget and build wealth as immigrants here. Thank you so much for your honor now. Um, his name is Paul Adeye, and he's a leadership mentor who has committed his life to teaching people how to make smart financial decisions. Paul transforms your life and income by helping you to maximize your potential. Paul's proven method on topics such as financial planning, retirement planning, business development, educational planning, and entrepreneurship will help you get to where you want in life. He's a certified insurance and investment professional, and he's the author of the book A Plus Entrepreneur. He's on a mission to educate families on how to live their dream life. Welcome once again, sir. And I think this your bio
Thank
is
you.
not complete because I know you have a Canadian government award. Please update your bio next time, sir.
Oh yeah, that's
Welcome.
true. Even the bell, as we were reading it, I was like, oh wow, now maybe this. Okay. Thank you so much, Estrella, for having me. I'm really excited to be on this call.
Yeah, welcome. So we just dive into it because of time limit, and we get to it. So my first question here, what's your perspective like? There's this popular saying that they say when you come to the Western world that the best way to make money is being an entrepreneur. Find a business you can do, bring out your idea, and just monetize it. And in no distant time, you become that millionaire, you become that billionaire. Instead of waiting for your 9 to 5 check and waiting every month, every 30 days. What's your perspective about that? How true is that notion?
Oh wow, that's a very tricky one. And I'm just going to start by saying, yes, it's entrepreneurship is great, not even just in the Western world, right? So even if you look back to Africa, you see the top guys doing the wealthy guys, chances are maybe they are business owners or they are entrepreneurs. However, I I believe that entrepreneurship is not just about getting something to sell or to provide. It's a spirit. And regardless of what you do, regardless of where you find yourself, if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you are going to thrive. So even as a 9 to 5 person, you just need to bring out that spirit. We've seen people that are now maybe CEOs in organizations, they are employees. For example, Apple CEO, his name is Tim Cook or Tim Cook. He makes millions of dollars. Is it millions or billions? I can't even remember. He makes a lot of money that some entrepreneurs cannot even make. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, um, I think it's about two things. The first thing is ownership. And the second thing is solving problems. So if you are going to solve problems, if you find yourself in a place where you identify a problem to solve and you take ownership, you're already practicing entrepreneurship. So even as an employee, if you find yourself in an organization and you take that spirit of, oh, I want to solve problems and I want to take ownership of my career, there's a strong chance that you are going to grow, you are going to thrive, you are going to make good money because money follows value. You may not become a millionaire, but you're going to make good money. On the other side, even if you decide to start your business and you don't take ownership or you are not ready to solve problems. You may not even make a lot of money. And it's interesting that people feel, like you said, that people feel like once you start a business, you're on your way to become a millionaire. Do you know how many businesses people have started? A lot of people have started different businesses. At some point, they realized it wasn't working and they stopped and they went back to their 9 to 5. And entrepreneurship is great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's for everyone because we all cannot be business owners. We When we create businesses, we need people to work with us to help us take the business to another level. So if everyone is creating business, who is going to work with them? Who's going to work for them? But you need talent. You need to have a sense of ownership. You need to have a sense of solving problems, and you need to understand how to network in this part of the world. So it looks like I'm on the fence. I'm really big on entrepreneurship, but I'm just saying this for people to understand that it's not like a get rich quick scheme. There's no guarantee that you will be successful as a business owner in any part of the world. And I always say this, I believe strongly that even those that become entrepreneurs at some point in their lives, if they had not left their 9 to 5, chances are they would become something great even in their career because it's about the spirit. And that spirit, if you if you use all those skills and you use it well on your regular 9 to 5, you will likely rise to the, maybe you may not become a CEO, but you are going to grow in your career as well. Now, that being said, on a 9 to 5, there are some limitations, especially in this part of the world, right? When you talk about money management, taxes, business owners enjoy some tax advantages that you may not enjoy as an employee. But before you can even enjoy the tax advantages, you need to make money. So what if you start a business, money is not yet coming in? You don't have anything to offer the CRA or the government to enjoy the advantages. However, if you find a problem that you think you're ready to solve and you think we help people, because not just about making money, just understand that you need to help people. So when people are being helped, they don't have issues spending their money to get the help. So if you find a problem in your community or your local area that you think, oh, this is an opportunity, please jump on it and start exploring how you can provide value for your community. But do not leave your 9 to 5. You can dedicate maybe 1 hour or 2 hours daily and just start learning the business and see if the business is going to work. Because truly, I don't think anyone can pay you your worth. So on a 9 to 5, even if you grow. In fact, I saw something that by the time you start making 6 figures or reasonable income from your employer, there's a lot of sacrifices that you need to make. Like there are some jobs that when they give you a particular amount of money, you cannot say that you are just strictly 9 to 5. They can call you on Saturday, they can call you on Sunday because they are paying you a lot of money. So the higher you grow in your career, the more the commitment and the the chances of losing your personal time. It's not like it's better off as an entrepreneur. In fact, entrepreneurs don't sleep. They wake up and they start working till sometimes till the following day. So I'm not sure. I, I can't take a stand like should you be an entrepreneur or should you just be a regular 9 to 5? I think at some point everybody will understand and realize what is best for him or her. But the major thing I would like to encourage everyone listening to me right now to do is when you come to this part of the world, you need to understand that you have to take ownership of your life, of your career. Whatever you want to do, you need to work extra hard and smart. And you also need to understand that you are a problem solver. Solve problems wherever you find yourself, whether at work or as an entrepreneur. And the interesting thing also is that by the time you build your career to a point, you would have learned a whole lot that you can even become a business owner in that same industry because you would have acquired a lot of skills unconsciously. Maybe maybe you happen to have worked, maybe you must have worked in a particular industry from your home country, like you worked for maybe 10 years and you are lucky to find the same industry in this part of the world, you do that for maybe another 3, 4, 5 years. That's 15 years work experience. You're already a consultant. So that way you can easily say, okay, now I want to maybe start a coaching business or a consultancy business in the same industry, as long as it's not going to conflict with your 9 to 5. So it's a very broad topic. Let me just stop here for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Then, as we were speaking, something came to mind, and I think that's where this question stemmed from. And it's the fact that entrepreneurs have a lot of like support, like maybe from the government, they can get loan and what have you. So I will tie that question. I want you to touch on that, how true that is. And I will tie the question to this. What do I have to do to get started with building wealth and starting a viable business?
Okay, yeah, that's a very interesting one, right? So in my experience in Canada, to be honest, I think the Canadian government, they are generous enough to entrepreneurs. And it's logical because if the way the system works, it is the government's responsibility to provide jobs for its citizens. Now, if you, as a business owner, or let me say you as a citizen, you discover that there's an opportunity and you want to start up a business. You know what you're trying to do for the government? You're trying to help them solve their problems. So they should encourage you, they should support you, because if your business grows, let's even assume you employ just 5 people for a start. Those 5 people, they are making income because they are working with you or they are working for you. If your company was not there, they probably will need to go and look for another job, or the government will have to pay them employment insurance. But it's the government's primary responsibility to provide jobs for its citizens. So I don't think I think it's logical when the government puts out a lot of support and like give grants and give loans to business owners. But not every business owner qualifies for all those grants. And I'm happy that there's a second part to that question. So the second part is, how do you start up a business in Canada and build wealth? Is that it? Right. Okay. So yeah, so the first thing is to identify a problem that you want to solve. And it's Canada is it's the Canada's business environment is very interesting, and it's challenging as well, because when you're talking about business, for me, the first thing is the people you want to serve. How many people are willing to pay for your service within that space that you can reach? You can have a very beautiful idea, as in fantastic idea, and you are in maybe one city or one town in a remote place. And this beautiful idea, maybe people of your color are only the likely people that can buy from you. What is the population size of those people of color in your city? It doesn't mean that your idea is not good, but access to your customers or to your potential clients is very important. So when you're trying to start up a business, especially in Canada, because Canada is very large, we have scattered population. We have scattered population. So after, if you take out Toronto, Montreal, and maybe Calgary, every other city just maybe less than 1 million. So it's different from Nigeria, for example. Like in Nigeria, you can have a small business, a business that doesn't even look like a serious business. For example, let's say you're selling popcorn in Oshodi. Oshodi, I don't know how many millions of people pass through Oshodi in a day, but you can be selling popcorn in Oshodi and make a lot of money compared to someone selling popcorn in maybe Ottawa or in Edmonton. It's the same popcorn, but access to your customers is key. So when people think about starting a business, I would say the first thing is do some research and find out if, so it depends on a lot of factors. The first thing is the kind of service you're trying to provide. Is it a service that people can access online? Like maybe you want to become a consultant. If you want to consult for people, you probably don't need to meet them one-on-one. So you can do that online. So there's no limit to who you can serve at that point. do you want to start maybe a consumable business? You want to start selling maybe food, for example. And I see a lot of people selling food in my community. Do you want to start selling food? Which is great. But what are the logistic challenges with food if you want to sell food? So if you're in Edmonton, for example, you should be thinking about serving people within Edmonton. I don't even know how large Edmonton is. Chances are there are places in Edmonton that will take you 2 to 3 hours to get to. So if your idea is great, after checking if your potential clients are within a serving a radius where you can serve, if it's not a business that can be done online, I think the next thing is to reach out to your city, like the city of maybe you're in city of Brampton or the city of Edmonton. Like you mentioned, the government they offer a lot of support and resources to help business owners. But you will not know if you don't talk to them and let them know the kind of things you are working on or the kind of ideas you are trying to promote. So reach out to your city. If it's city of Edmonton, ask for the small business unit. There is always one small business unit in every city. And by the time you start having that conversation, you realize that there are maybe a community within that space. Maybe they have meetings every Monday or every week or bi-weekly. Join them to understand their lessons, the experiences that they've had, and maybe you even find someone running the same kind of business that can mentor you locally. Then the other thing you can also do is you can go online to follow competitors, like do some research, follow them on social media, and you can even patronize them. You can even sign up to their newsletters so you can try to understand how they do the business. And you also need to think about how do you want to structure your business? Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Do you want to be like, do you want to incorporate your business or do you want to have partners? This kind of conversation, you need to have them with an accountant. So you get an accountant. It's very important. The way you structure your business is very, very important because as a business owner, you're thinking of how to minimize your taxes. So the best way to do that is to reach out to an accountant. Sometimes you can talk to a lawyer, a business lawyer, or an accountant to tell you how to structure your business. But most people just start as sole proprietor because they don't know if the business will work or not. Then I think another thing I would like to speak on is knowing how to sell or learning how to sell. A lot of people have great ideas, but they they have they've seen the art of selling as the art of getting rejection. Most people cannot take rejection, so they don't want to hear no. Now, I understand that as humans, we don't like being rejected. But if you're going to be a business owner, you need to grow thick skin. If you're selling consumables, for example, you're selling maybe jollof rice. If people don't come to buy your jollof rice, it's going to waste because it's a perishable good. So you have to be out there, let them know what you are selling. And if you're really convinced that you have something valuable to offer people, you should be proud and be ready to promote it. It takes time. It takes time. If you are coming from a regular 9 to 5 and you are not, you probably haven't worked in the sales space, you will find it very difficult to sell to people. So, but thanks to technology now, you can do a lot of selling activities online using your social media, maybe going online, because I know a lot of small business owners that they're just running their business online. From the point of generating leads to the point of closing the sale, everything can be done online. So what else do people need to know when they're starting out their business? Then you can also volunteer. So there are small groups within your community that you can volunteer. Like I mentioned, going to the city, that will also create opportunity to connect with maybe small business owners or small business opportunities where you can volunteer. It's very good to volunteer because even when you start asking for grants from government, they want to see what you've done for the community. So I think that's it. And if the business doesn't work, it's not a problem. There's you've not lost. I'm sure you would have learned one or two things by trying out a new business. Because when I listen to successful business owners, you will be shocked at how many businesses that they've tried before hitting the right spot or the jackpot or whatever. Some people will even tell you how much they've lost. But I think it's about that spirit, knowing that no, I've tried this, it's not working. I want to try something else and let's see what comes out of it. So I hope I answered the questions.
Yes, you did. Profound, profound. Then I'll just touch one before we get into the wealth and budgeting part. And the question I want to ask is, what's the registration process like, right? Because I know everything in this Canada is registration, license. And if you are defaulting in that place, it can actually cause a very big issue. So what is the registration process like for a small business owner here?
Yeah, so that's a very smart question, and I should have touched on it. Thank you for asking. And it depends on the province where you want to operate from. So, Canada is big on provincial laws, and it also depends on the kind of services you are trying to render. If you are trying to render consumables, say maybe you want to start cooking, I know there are licenses that you need to have, but if you want to start from your basement and you just want to leverage maybe your family and friends, well, and let them see if your food is okay. But the moment you want to make it a commercial activity, that's why I also mentioned earlier on that you need to visit your city and let them know what you're trying to do. They will probably assign you to someone that will guide you, or you will see someone that is already in the business. But I know for sure that the province where you're trying to operate from is a strong determinant to the kind of registration you will do. So proprietors, sometimes there's a way you can get your HST number without doing a proper registration. But the moment you are considering incorporation or partnership, that you will require a professional. And the kind of services you are rendering, like I mentioned, is also a determinant. Some, let's say you want to go into skincare business, is healthcare. So you need to understand, maybe you need to take some exams to get your license, or you want to start cooking for people on a large scale, maybe for events. I'm sure there is a program or like an exam that you have to take to get your license based on the province you are working or you are providing the services for.
Thank you so much for these insights. Like, thank you so much. All right, so we go to the budgeting and the money making part. And I'll start with saying, how do I make wealth in Canada? Like, how will I make money in Canada? That's why I came here. How do I make wealth in Canada?
Yeah, so it's a very tricky one because like you mentioned in the beginning of this call, when people start thinking about leaving their country, I there's this hope that once I get to Canada, my
I'm
financial
coming to pick money from the floor.
I'm coming to pick money
City of
from
money.
money is everywhere. I remember when I was coming to Canada, I read a lot of good things about Canada, like the child support benefits and all that. I'm like, oh, wow. And in my head, I was just doing some random conversion, converting it to Naira, like, oh, wow. If my son can be earning this much, can you imagine how beautiful that country is? It's a beautiful country, but we need to understand that we are coming from a different space and the dynamics are a bit different. And I'm going to start by talking about expense. What to spend is a very key factor. And Canada is an interesting country. You can be making $6,000 and you can be spending 6,500 monthly because bills need to be paid. And what is left after your expense is what you have control over that you can make or turn to wealth. Now, a country like Nigeria, you can be making in dollars. You can be making $10,000 a year, and you can be richer than someone making $100,000 a year in Canada. Because what you have left after your expense is what makes you wealthy. Let me say, is what you can turn into wealth. It doesn't make you wealthy, but that's what you have that you can turn to wealth. Now, people need to understand how to manage their expenses, how to manage their expectations, and understand how taxes work. I'm going to start with a traditional or a regular career professional, someone that is just working on a 9 to 5. And the first point I will talk on is knowing how to maximize all the benefits at work. They look intangible, but they can save you a lot of stress and money. Make sure as you are signing up a new job, you are asking the HR what are the benefits. Benefits like I've seen people that get some discount from insurance companies on their car insurance because they're working for a particular company. Car insurance can take a lot of money out of your pocket depending on the city where you live in Canada. And it's a monthly expense. For example, people who live in Brampton, they can pay as high as
Automated monthly, automated.
automated monthly expense. They can pay as high as $600 per month on car insurance. Whereas in Nigeria is annually, and it's not even up to what we pay monthly, even if you do the comprehensive insurance. So if you work with an organization that offers you some discounts, why not take it like, okay, because I work with this particular company, they have a partnership with this insurance company, and they give me 20% or 30% discounts. Good. I've seen some institutions like some colleges that offer some discounts to their graduates for like 5 years after school. So just make sure you are doing your research, and if you don't ask, you won't get answers. So
That's a very big one for me, right? Like I
yeah,
just noticed it. Like if you don't ask, nobody will just come to your beck and call and say, this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. And with what you're saying, I think I even need to call my HR and ask, especially the insurance part. Sorry for cutting you short. It's just struck a bell and I was like, no, I have to say this. Yeah.
right. Thank you for mentioning that. So it's important you get all the money you can get from your employer, as long as they're offering you the money. For example, RRSP. RRSP is Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Most companies or most employers, they offer retirement plan. And what they do is they say, okay, let's say, for example, Esther, we are offering you $100,000 per year. And if you can contribute 10% into your retirement plan, we will match it by another 10%. So what the company is saying is, I can afford to pay you $110,000, but we just need you to commit 10K into your retirement. So why not do that? Because they're trying to help you create a better future. So, but people don't even look at it sometimes. They just feel like, I will get back to that. Maybe I will come back to it. If you have any retirement plan at work, maximize it. Sometimes some companies offer summer plans, like maybe you want to travel, they have some credit cards. Just ask your company. There's something called Pecopolis. If your company has a partnership with Pecopolis, there are 1,001 benefits on Pecopolis. So you just log in with your maybe employee ID. You can even get discounts in Apple, Amazon, flight tickets. So find out what your company is offering and make sure you maximize and take all the benefits. Then the next one is now budgeting, because budgeting is a big deal. You want to track your expenses. You want to know where your money is going to. And I usually recommend this common rule, the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule is fantastic because it's in percentage. And the reason why I love it is even when you grow in career and you make more money, it's still the same rule. So you don't have to use figures, just use 50-30-20. So what 50 means is 50% of your income should be spent on basic needs like mortgage or rent, car expense, feeding, feeding in terms of groceries, not eat out. And maybe insurance, health insurance, life insurance, those necessities, let 50% of your income take care of it. Then 30% can take care of wants. Wants can be gym subscription. I understand that staying healthy is important, but really you can do some workouts at home. So it can be gym subscription, it can be cable subscription. If you know how much some people spend on subscriptions, like you have Spotify, you have Amazon Prime, you have Netflix, you have YouTube, you have Microsoft, all those things, they all add up. So those ones, some of them are actually wants. 30% should go towards that. Eat out, vacation, new clothing. Not like you should not wear nice clothes, but let 30% take care of that. Then 20% should be invested, should go to maybe your retirement plan, your savings plan, and all that. And it's very important because as humans, we don't have all the years to work. There comes a time in your life that your body will not be able to work anymore. And it's the savings and the retirement plans that you've made that will take care of you. So pay yourself first. Every time you get paid, automate it. Let 20% of your income be invested. Maybe you take it to your savings or you take it to your investment plan. Just make sure you're not spending the whole of 100% on your regular traditional expense. And I understand that it's a very challenging time for the world right now. A lot of people are even spending more than 100% on their needs. Maybe you want to start a side hustle. Maybe you want to, because needs too can be relative. For example, maybe you're living in a house of $6,000 mortgage. Is actually a need, but can you downgrade? If it's possible to downgrade and go rent a place for $3,000, you can also cut your needs. So there's no, you can, because people come and say, oh yeah, my mortgage is 5,000, mortgage is 6,000. Truly, your mortgage is 6,000, but is there a way you can downgrade, rent, sell the house or rent a place? Or maybe you want to sublet maybe your basement. You want to see how you can reduce your expenses, even though it's a need. So for people going through some unique challenges about their expenses, maybe everything you are making, you cannot even afford to gift anyone any money because everything is going into your needs. Maybe you probably need to start a side hustle or look for what you can do to make money. It doesn't have to be something serious. Maybe $100 extra per week, or because extra $100 per week, that's $400. That can take care of maybe your car insurance. So that is it for budgeting,
It's
and
what they say. They say look for what to do to make money. How is it?
you
Moving to
also need to
Canada.
understand.
It's sad they don't need to cover music.
Okay, do you want to mute Daniel? Right. So we also need to understand the tax system. Because when you try to invest your money in Canada, the vehicle that you are using to invest your money will determine the kind of tax implication on that money when the money grows. So we have the tax-free savings account, we have the first home savings account, first home buyer savings account, we have the retirement savings plan that I mentioned. Those are registered vehicles. For example, for TFSA, if you use TFSA to invest money and you make profit, the profit is not going to be taxed. People don't understand how powerful that is. Because in Canada, if you invest your money somewhere and you make profit, there's capital gain tax. Capital gain tax can be as high as 50%, sometimes even 66% of your proceeds will be taxed, of your profits will be taxed. So when the government says, oh, we have a particular vehicle that you can use to invest in the stock market and make all the money you can make, don't pay taxes. I think that's a very fantastic vehicle. And I expect that every Canadian or every permanent resident should at least be using their TFSA to either save or build wealth for the future. So that's for tax-free savings accounts. most people get confused about where do I start my investment. The stock market has been a very proven, um, is that the right word? Because you really need to understand the stock market. But what I'm trying to say is, for everyone, you have access to the stock market now. Thanks to technology, you can invest in what they call S&P 500 ETFs. So we now have ETF. ETFs are exchange traded funds. You don't need to go and meet a stockbroker and start sitting down and booking appointments. You can download an app, and there are different apps that you can download to start your investment journey. You can start following financial um, content creators online. You can follow me as well, and you can learn about how to invest in the stock market. You just automate it. Maybe every time I get paid, take $100 from my income and put it into S&P 500. S&P 500, the top 10 companies in S&P 500 are always the top 10 companies in the US. So when you are investing in S&P, you are investing indirectly into Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, PayPal, any company that is like top 10 will probably find itself in the portfolio of S&P. And that's you also diversifying your investment unconsciously.
All right. So as regard varying investment platform, um, what do you suggest to a new beginner that wants to like start investing? How do a new beginner start investing, and what platform is the best or suitable for the person of such nature? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good one. If someone is trying to start investing, there are a lot of things you even need to put in place before investing. The first thing is, do you have any debt? This is a debt-friendly environment. And I can tell you that the average Canadian is managing one debt or the other. The interesting thing is, even when we think we are making progress, like you buy your house, you probably have mortgage to service. So some people believe that we have good debt, we have bad debt. So mortgage should be a good debt, not a bad debt. What I'm trying to say is there's a recommended structure to follow when you're trying to start investing. So first of all, if you have dependents, people who depend on you to survive or to live their lives, you need to get like an income protection plan. And how do you protect your income? You can protect your income with life insurance. There are different types of life insurance. There's temporary, there's permanent, but look for an advisor that can help you with life insurance, because you want to protect your biggest asset, which is your ability to make money, right? So if you are thinking of investing, just look at it like this. You are putting money in investment. God forbid something happens to you. Who's going to take care of the kids and other dependent that you have? So the first recommendation is get protection to protect your income. Then the next thing is save money for emergencies. So you want to save emergency fund. An emergency fund should not be invested, or I will not recommend you investing funds that you're trying to save for emergencies, because investments it can be good, it can be bad. It depends on the time that you need your money. So the market fluctuates, it goes up and down. But if you're saving, let's say you have 3 to 6 months of your income saved, where you can access it if anything happens, like an emergency pops up and you need your money, that's fine. So protect your income, save for emergencies, and manage your debt. So if you have multiple credit card debt, credit card in Canada, you will pay like between 19 to 23% of interest. So if you're owing $1,000, imagine $1,000 compounding at 20 something percent interest. So you want to try to reduce your debt and focus on those high interest debts so you can save yourself some money and pay as soon as you can. Sometimes you need to be aggressive in paying back your debt, because the longer it takes you to pay your debt, the more money is going to cost you. So if you have multiple debts, maybe you have student loans, you have credit card debt, you have car loans, you have line of credit. You want to sit with an advisor to help you analyze your debt and tell you which one to focus on. When you've done all that, then you can now start thinking about investing. And investing doesn't have to be like you want to put in $1,000 or $10,000. You can start with as low as $50 or $100 per month or bi-weekly. There are different platforms that you can use, and just do your research. I'm not going to recommend any platform on this call, but there are different that you can. If anyone needs maybe a one-on-one consultation, you can reach out to me, then I can recommend maybe a platform you can use to start your investing or your investment journey. One thing I'm going to speak on again is the pattern that you can use to invest. Is recommended that you be a consistent investor. Like if you want to be putting if you want to invest maybe $1,200 in a year, just make it $100 every month. Automate it and let the money keep going into the maybe stock market or wherever you are investing in, and let it be buying those shares for you on a monthly basis. Doing that, what you're doing is called dollar cost averaging. And by doing that, you are reducing your risk in the market. Because every time you buy, you are probably buying at low, at high. At the end of the day, when you do the average, you find out that you are in a better position as someone that just comes into the market at once and puts in a lump sum and walks away. So those are the steps I'm going to recommend when you're trying to start your investment journey. You can go online and take some courses, and you can reach out to me, like I mentioned, but just know that you need to give yourself some grace. Don't see it like once I start investing, I will make 100%, but you just need to be in that, to be disciplined and know that no matter how much I make, I must invest for my future. It can be as low as $20, it can be as low as $50. Once you start doing that, you are going to experience a lifestyle adjustment, automatic lifestyle adjustment. Because when I speak to people, most of them are like, I really want to invest, but this money, I don't even know where this money is going to. I can't even afford to do a lot of things. Where do I start investing from? So there was a lady that I worked with that we started our investment journey together. When we had that conversation, interestingly, she was an international student at that time. But she was like, I don't think I can afford anything. I just, you know what? Let's start with $50 per month. Let's see if you will survive it or not. And she started. And after 6 months, she called me and like, okay, I think I can afford to do it bi-weekly now and make it $100. I said, what has changed? And nothing has changed. Not like she made more income. She didn't make more income. It's still the same income. But the thing is, she was able to adjust her lifestyle, because once the system takes out your money, you are only going to spend what is left. Now she's now investing $100 per month. If she had not started that journey, she probably will still not have anything to show for the $100. She will still be spending everything. So discipline can be tough, but with the help of technology now, you can easily automate your savings and your investment plans. And you just realize that you are now a proud owner of Microsoft, Google, all those top companies. You can say, yeah, you have some money in those companies. Investment is a recommended way to make your money work for you. Because like I mentioned, everybody will wake up someday and they won't have the energy or the time to work to make money. But as long as you're alive, you need money to survive. Every day you wake up, you need to spend money. Whether you want to feed yourself or you want to stay in a home, as long as you are alive, you need to spend money. So technically, you need money to be invested so that it can take care of you when you get to that point that you cannot work or you don't have all the energy to make money. That's when the money that you've invested will now start working for you.
Thank you so much. Profound, profound. So, what will you say is the starting point, like for the investment platform, because you spoke on TSFA, you spoke on RSSP, you spoke on life investment, and you said life investment is very important to shield you and the things you are working on, all those kind of things. So what are the basic ones that an average person should start with, whether putting $1 there or $2 there or something there about here?
Yeah, so I think this depends on individual and it depends on their goals and what they want to achieve. For example, for someone who has a lot of debt, I think the first point of call is to see how we can reduce the debt or clear it completely. And that can take months, it can take years sometimes. So it depends on individual. That's why it's good to speak with maybe an advisor. But the one that I think everybody should take advantage of is tax-free savings account. And everybody has a TFSA room, regardless of whether you are working or you are a permanent resident or you are a Canadian or you are an international student. Once you are 18 and above, you get a TFSA contribution room every year and it accumulates. So for someone that's been in this country for maybe 5-6 years, you can have a TFSA room of more than $30,000. What that means is the government is saying you can use 30K to invest in the stock market, make profit, and don't pay us taxes. So that's TFSA. If someone is looking to buy his first property, maybe he's trying to buy a first home in Canada, there's a new registered account called First Time Home Savings Account, FHSA. The government is saying every time you put in $8,000 into this account, we are going to reduce your taxes for that year. So, and in Canada, is a tax progressive system. So someone making 100K and someone making 90K, both of them are not going to pay the same taxes. The person earning 100K may pay higher taxes. So that's why I said it depends on what the person is trying to achieve, their goals, and their individual situation. But I think TFSA is always a good place to start, as long as you don't have any debt that is compounding.
Thank you very much. And I'll say this because of first timers. I have one with me presently. And when we are coming, we're always saying credit card, credit card, credit card, credit card, credit card. So I want you to touch base on credit card, how it relates with building credits, because it's a very vital part, like when you want to start getting acquiring assets. So how best, like for someone first coming, what do you think is the best credit limit? How best can they build that credit over time and stuff like that? Like I know they say 30%, don't spend 30%. I just wanted to touch base on that and just give a summary. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's a very good one because credit is a credit-driven system. You need credit in this part of the world. And most times people don't really get it, especially newcomers. Like we are not coming, the country where most of us are coming from are not credit-driven system. So, and for me, I see that as an advantage because you've built that culture of only spending what you can afford. But at the same time, when people come here, they find themselves in a very comfortable position and they just keep swiping the cards and not paying back. So credit cards are very good if you really understand how to use them, because I think that's the easiest way to build credit, the most accessible way to build credits in Canada. So when you come newly to Canada, you will have access to credit cards. They can start with maybe $1,000 limit or $2,000 limit, depends on your status. For people that come as international students, I think they usually start with $1,000 limit. It also depends on the bank that is offering you the credit card. So what they're saying is that card you can spend in advance and pay back, because they understand too that life can be tough in this part of the world. People wait for paycheck before they can spend money, but you have some expenses to make within maybe 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks. They want you to have access to credit, so you can go to Walmart or any store and buy things with your credit card, hoping that you're going to pay back when you make money. Now, nothing comes free. When you're spending that money from your credit card, you are expected to pay back minimum due. And this is very important. If you've looked through your statement of account from your credit, maybe your credit card, you always see that there's something called minimum due. Now, the minimum due is what you're expected to pay back within 30 days. So you spend $3,000, the company says, oh, your minimum due is $50 or $100. Now, what they're saying is just pay $100. As long as you pay that $100, your credit will not be affected. Like you can start building credits. However, what they are trying to also let you do is to charge you interest on the difference. So you spend $3,000, you're only paying $100 back. The 2,900 will be compounded at 20% interest or whatever interest the company is offering you. What that means is another 30 days, even if you don't spend on that credit card, you won't be owing 2009 anymore. You will now be owing 2009 plus 30% of 2009. That can now be maybe as high as 3,003 or something. So what I usually encourage people to do is when you get your credit cards, just know that whatever you cannot afford, don't buy it with the credit card. Use the credit card to pay. You can buy something of maybe $500 from your credit card, then maybe after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, just pay everything. Don't pay minimum due. Also, there's something called utilization ratio on credit cards. Somehow, they don't expect you to spend more than 30% of your limit. So if you start spending beyond 30%, maybe 50, 60, 70%, you may appear like, oh, you cannot even afford your lifestyle. So you are depending seriously on your credit card. So if you have like $1,000 credit limit, just spend $300 to $350 and pay back within time. Now, what you can do also is you can increase your credit card limit. It depends on how long you've been in this country for and how you've been managing your credit. Your institution can reach out to you and say, oh, we want to give you more credit limits. There are people in this country with over 100K credit limit. So someone that has 100K credit limit spends $25,000 on his credit card, is still below 30% ratio. Meanwhile, someone has $5,000 credit limit, spends $4,000. That person is spending close to 80 to 90% of his credit limit. So if you can acquire more limits, that's fine. But just try to always not go beyond 30 to 35% of your credit limit. But get credit cards. You don't come to this country and say, oh, I don't like, they say, I'm not going to take credit card. No, get it. Understand how to use it. Use it to your advantage. In fact, there are a lot of benefits of having credit cards that I can't speak on right now. There are a lot of benefits. I use credit cards very well. I encourage people to use it. Once you understand the concept and how to use it, in fact, you can use credit card in a way that your vacation trip will be free. So there are credit cards that you can use to get points. And some of the things, we spend money on them regularly. We just have to, like you go to grocery store to buy things, you must eat. So let's say you get a credit card that offers you points, you acquire points, maybe 10,000 points. Those 10,000 points, you can convert it to dollars. So it depends on the credit card and the company offering you. Some points can buy you tickets, take you to your vacation destination, and take you back. That's you going on free vacation or credit card. So you need to understand how it works, but I think everyone should use it and use it well.
Thank you. It sounds like we are going to bring you on board again. I'm even interested in that part.
You want to go on free trip?
I want to go on field trip. All right. So I heard you say something. I don't want you to, because of time, go in depth. Definitely when I'm compiling things and I will ask you if you have any resource you want to give out, I would put all those things in place. But you said something that caught me here. You said credit card is not only the source of building a credit limit, there are other sources. You might just mention their name, you might not touch like in depth in them because of time, what are other ways you can like build your credit score without like using the credit card? Yeah.
Yeah, so for your credit score, there are different ways, but credit card is probably the major way for a newcomer because what they look at is, for example, they look at your credit history, they look at your credit utilization, they look at if you've declared bankruptcy before, and also they look at how many times do they check your credit at some point. So there are about 5 factors. I think I've only mentioned 4. I can't remember the last one. Now, line of credit is different from credit card. You can use line of credit to build credit. You can also use your, maybe the way you pay your bills, some of your bills can also be used to determine your credit score. Bills like maybe phone, maybe you're financing your phone, maybe you're financing your car, but those ones don't really give you a significant point like that. Credit card is probably the major way to build good credit in this part of the world.
All right, thank you. I think I'll soon let you go. Thank you so much for the very informative section. I would ask if there are maybe the budgeting tracker or any budgeting thing you have or any short, well, I call it informative poster cards that can help like a beginner know the varying investment platform that can help a beginner do the 50, 30, 20, 20 rule. I would appreciate if you pass that across. I definitely would put them all together and send to all registered participants. And also I would put your undo and how they can like reach out to you for one-on-one consultation, because as you mentioned, you said investment planning, budgeting all depends on individualized issues, like the number of debts people have accumulated over time, their income, and what they are planning to achieve, right? So I'm gonna put your link so that people can reach out to you on a personal basis and share where they are at, and you can give the best financial advice for them to hit the ground rolling. Thank you once again. I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate you sharing, and thank you.
Okay, we are welcome and thank you for having me. Right, so to your question, you can reach me on, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter. My handle is at Deyeyepal, DEYEYEPAUL. And I have a free budgeting and tracking sheet that I give to my community. So if you go on my Instagram, you check the link in my bio, you'll be able to download it for free. And if you need to have a one-on-one with me, you can just send me a DM, and you can also send me email at hi@pauladeye.com. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. I'll gather all this information and just send us an email to everybody that will be wanting to reach out to you. Thank you.